Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to switch it up a little bit, going from tree work to some irrigation improvement due to some wet conditions this winter. So stick around and find out what we're doing. So our first area of improvement we're going after today is 27 Ridge. This T complex has 5 sprinklers that's supposed to keep everything watered, and about midway through the season we found that only 2 were working. There's a part circle located behind the gold T, and then there's one by the set of stairs that was working. This one here was buried, it did not work. The one to the right of me or to the left of you, that corner, it worked, but it didn't rotate and it was shooting into the neighbor's yard, and the same with the one behind it. So fortunately we had some parts that we were able to fix the one back on the blue and white T, but unfortunately the front 2 sprinklers were not operating, therefore not watering the T and giving the appropriate amount of water that needed. Now this T in particular needs the water because even though it's a par 4, it plays like a par 3. It's a very short, narrow par 4. We're going after this one. This is going to be able to water this section that hadn't got it. Same with the one to the right of me. And we should definitely see some vast improvements. This one's going to be a full circle sprinkler head, which means it is going to do a full 360 rotation. The one to the right of me is going to be a part circle. Part circles mean that you can adjust it anywhere between 90 degrees up to I believe 360 degrees, but that one over there, since it's along the property line, we're going to adjust it so it only waters 180 degrees towards the golf course. So we're not going to be watering into people's yards, making them mad and everything. So like I said, this area is going to see much improvement tee box wise this upcoming season. The next area of improvement we're doing with irrigation is out here on 3 Valley T complex. Just like 27 Ridge, we don't have all of the sprinklers that are working. What I did was I walked out the paces that the proper spacing for them, and I would place an orange flag by sprinklers that I know that work. I've recorded that before we winterized irrigation because right now we can't turn it on. Anyway, wherever I come up to a spot where I think there should be a sprinkler, basically I take a screwdriver, stab around, and if I'm lucky, I'll find maybe some hidden sprinklers, which I did get lucky on one of the tee boxes on the white tee that sees the most play and struggles probably the most. I found a sprinkler that was buried about 5 inches below the surface. It actually was placed, or it is placed, where there used to be a landscaping bed, so I'm guessing over time the landscaping bed just kind of overtook it. Never worked since I've been here, so that was a pleasant surprise. And I also changed out one of the sprinklers back on the gold tee. That sprinkler is a part circle, but it was all the gears and stuff inside that cause it to only go a certain way were broken. Therefore it spun all the way around and it would water the neighbor's house, which they obviously weren't too happy about. So I had to turn that off for the sake of hitting their house. So I went ahead and I dug that one up. I put a new 950 in, which is a part circle, and that should, and I changed it to where the water is going to be throwing only on the golf course side. So there's one other sprinkler that needs some work. I kind of ran out of time here at the end of the day, but that should just be a solenoid problem. And when I go and check that, if it's not, then what I'll have to do is trace some wires and hopefully find a break somewhere. But these few things that I've already done should help this T complex immensely this upcoming season. So I'm back out here on 3 Valley, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace some wires, and what this is going to do is it's going to help me locate any missing sprinklers I may have, which I'm pretty positive that I have located them all. And this is going to help me to determine which station operates which sprinklers. On our computer, it's showing that station 3 is a T station, However, from this box, whenever you go to turn it on, it doesn't. Therefore, something is going on. And it's been like that since I've been here. So what I'm going to do is when I connect in, I'm going to trace that line and see where it takes me. So interestingly enough, after I just traced the station 3, the one that we know that does not come on, it actually led me to the sprinkler that I thought was in suspect of being the one. Now, it actually led me all the way to it, so that tells me that possibly just it has a blown solenoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig it up, disconnect the solenoid, do a quick reading on it, and see if that's the case. If it comes back and it's reading a good solenoid, then something may be wrong with the box in here, or there may be, I don't think this is it because I was able to trace it all the way there, but there may be a break in the wire. So I'm going to dig it up and see what I can find. All right, so I dug up the sprinkler here that I think is a bad solenoid. I broke it away from the line, and I put my leads on here to test the ohms, and it should be reading anywhere between 27 and 33, and unfortunately it read 27. So this was good, which is pretty disheartening because yeah, you would expect this to be the problem. However, when I was digging into it, I noticed these burials right here. These are a newer brand, which tells me somebody has already been in here to replace this solenoid at some point, which then gives me another clue that maybe when somebody went to replace this the other time, they accidentally nicked a wire. So what I did is I went back to my red line here where I was doing my readings from, and I dug it up and exposed all this wire, and lo and behold, I found, I don't know if you can see it, but basically there's a big gash in this line right here, and I can see there is no longer wire in there, which tells me that that's why this wasn't working. So even though it wasn't the solenoid, I still found the issue, and what I'll do is I'll cut and repair this and hook the solenoid back up, and this sprinkler should work from here on out, which ultimately means all the sprinklers on this T complex here on Three Valley is going to work. Our next area of irrigation improvement is going to be on 21 Ridge on the right hand side of the green. Most of our greens, irrigation-wise, has a box setup where there is a sprinkler located on the four corners. This particular green has an interesting setup. It does contain four sprinklers situated as a box, however, they aren't surrounding the whole green. The box layout is shifted to the left side, leaving the right side of the green and green bank unirrigated. To compound the problem, this is the side that contains the cart path. Therefore, all foot traffic from the cart to the green moves through this area. With a difficult start to the summer we had in 2023, we struggled to keep enough water on this area, and over one weekend, we lost the battle. So this is an area that desperately needs an additional sprinkler. Two things need to happen before any digging is to start, and that is to locate the irrigation wire and the irrigation water line. As seen on Three Valley, I used the wire tracer to locate where the wire lies underground. This will also help determine which irrigation station I use to wire in the new sprinkler. What you see going on here is I am using a string to mimic how far each sprinkler throws water. I am using the front right sprinkler and the back right sprinkler. This is important as it will determine the exact location of where I place the new one.
an improperly spaced sprinkler will cause more issues than not, so measuring is the key. Where the two sprinklers' arcs cross paths will be where the new sprinkler goes. Because the course doesn't have an irrigation map, I will have to dig up the back right sprinklers to locate the irrigation water line. Since I trace the wires, I know exactly where to be careful when digging. I don't want to accidentally nick or cut another irrigation wire, as it will cause issues for us down the road. Once the PVC water line is located, I can determine where and how I want to plumb in the water supply for the new sprinkler. Basically, I'll look for a way to lay down PVC in a 90 and 180 degree routing. Even though PVC can bend over long enough lengths, it does add stress to glued joints, which can cause leaks over time. I am only digging this up once and don't want to come back sometime down the road.
So I got the back right sprinkler head dug up, and this is what I found. So this right here, that's the swing joint. It connects right into here. That allows us to position the sprinkler how we want it to make it nice and level and whatnot. So that actually moves around. Anyway, you can see this 90-degree elbow is actually what is feeding into it. So that means there's no more water line going that way. I like that in the fact that this is going to be pretty easy to plumb in. So I'm basically going to cut right here, and then I can just tie in my pipe all the way to where my mark is. And I've used this mason string again. It's not the straightest in the world, but it gives me a pretty good idea. And it leads me down to the other end. And like I said, I don't want there to be any bends in this line when I put it in. So where you see where the spool is ended, right here is where I want the sprinkler. So in order for me to bring that down to here, it would create a fairly good bend. And like I said, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is from the hole over to here, I'll plumb a straight line in, and then like I said, using 90-degree angles, I'll probably just come right here and make a T and put that sprinkler here. And since I'll have that already trenched out, I'll be able to use that same trench that we lay the pipe in to tie in the wires as well. So pretty excited to see that. And now it's just a matter of getting this sod removed, everything painted, and bring the trencher out. All right, guys, so I have finally wrapped up the irrigation addition out here on 21 Ridge Green. As you can see, you can even tell that I have been out here. But in all seriousness, this sod's going to come back just fine. Just a little yellow from being rolled up for a little too long. So what I did is I brought out the sod cutter, and I removed obviously the sod from the line that I was going to trench, and then rolled it up, placed off to the side. End up driving the trencher all the way out here, and boy, did that take a long time, probably about 25 minutes. Not the fastest machine in the world, and this isn't very close to the shop, so drove it all the way out here, and then I just started trenching. As I was going, I was finding big, huge rocks, which always makes you nervous because you think you're hitting something that you're not supposed to, but everything went real smooth until I got to the T where I was basically coming to shoot off the part where I was adding the sprinkler, and two of my hydraulic hoses on the backhoe blew, but at the time I thought it was tied into the trencher itself, so I ended up driving that back, and so that's being worked on. But hand dug the rest of the trench and ended up laying all the pipe down in. You know, it took a little bit of time, but that's typically the easy part, is just connecting everything together. And once I laid all the pipe down in, I laid out the irrigation wire. I didn't record it because it's pretty self-explanatory. Laid that all out, backfilled everything, and placed the sod back over it. So this is finally all done, and like I said, over time this will eventually green back up, and it will honestly look like I haven't even been here. So looks kind of funky now, but it'll be all right. So Anyway, that's all I have for this video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it.